Howdy ho YouTubers and welcome back. Wow, it's been quite a while since I did a YouTube video. So this is going to be a blog about my fishery, how the progress is coming on, when we're going to be opening up and what we've been up to. I'm currently on a little session at the moment. My rods are down there somewhere. And yeah, it's really hot. So we're in the middle of July now. You can probably see in the background behind me, a lot has changed. It's really starting to mature now. Everything's starting to grow up, which is fantastic. The fish are coming along really well and things are starting to really move in the right direction. We've now got fish in here. I think the biggest we've had so far is 33 pound. That was a common. That one, I think last year went 28, so it's put on another £5 since sort of like this time last year, which has been great. There's still a few fish in here that haven't been caught yet. I now put in another 16 fish, a batch of sea freeze. They went in the start of April, just about the start of April. So we're just on the borderline of being able to get them in, but we got them in and they've been happy as Larry since they've been in here. For those of you who don't know what a C3 is, it's basically the C stands for carp and the 3 stands for 3 summers old. So they're 3 years old and they are around the £5 or £6 mark. There is method to the madness in buying fish of that size. So even though they're £5 or £6, they've been in what's known as a stock pond, which is basically a pond where fish sort of like start their lives and start to grow up. The further up the chain they go, the less and less density and population you have, and the faster that they grow. So basically, being in here now with 16 of them, along with the other 54 that I had, it should do two things. Number one, it should increase the feeding from the fish that are already in here, because those fish that have gone in are young juveniles and they will be hungry. So they're going to sort of like, you know, really compete for the food in here. That's what the method to that madness is. And that's how you do things. Not only that, with the extra space that they've got, this place is about 2.7 acres, I think, something like that. They will really start to come along with the extra space. So you can expect an average of around £5 gain in weight per year, kind of minimum really at the moment. So this lake behind me is really fertile, so they should do really well in here. So at the moment I'm currently in the on the North Bank swim, which is like kind of like one end of the complex. A bit sunny over there, but yeah, you get a general idea. If you've seen the videos, you'll know where this one is. It's pretty much the furthest one away. And yeah, I'm going to do a couple of days down here and see what happens. It's been really hot though, so it might be a little bit tricky. And I haven't really seen a lot today. I've seen a couple, but not a lot. I do have quite a lot to talk about in this video because I have done quite a lot of stuff over the past 6 months. It's not completely finished yet, but things are moving in the right direction and a lot of work has taken place since I last updated. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Wow, am I glad that sun's gone in. It's been a really hot day today. We're in the middle of a heat wave at the moment, so yeah, trying to do things around the fishery has been a bit of a struggle just over the last sort of like week or so. But things have been done, so you can probably see behind me I've built a few more swims and I've just added onto them really. They've got like a border around them, just a bit of boarding just stood up. It's just to keep the wind off you in the winter months. So they work really well because it's quite exposed out here as well. I haven't planted any trees, but there's a reason for that as well, because I want it to stay open, because that's what really keeps the water turning over, and that's a really important factor, especially at this time of year when oxygen's at a premium. You know, if you can imagine, you know, everything this time of year is growing. You've got your algal blooms and things like that, so yeah, you really need to keep everything open and turning over as much as you can. So that's one of the main reasons why the lake is like it is. But yeah, the swims are all kind of like, every one of the swims now has got one of these in it. So that's all been taken care of. They're not all finished yet, but they will be by the end of the year. Right, so that'll pretty much do me for one day. So yeah, I'm going to chill out for the evening, see what happens with the rods overnight, and I'll come back to you tomorrow or in the middle of the night if I've had a fish. Well, good morning, world of YouTubing. So yeah, it was a very, very quiet night for me last night. I did hear a couple of fish during the night, but unfortunately no takes. A couple of liners, but nothing really to make me sort of get out of bed for, just 2 or 3 bleeps. So I just wanted to pick up quickly on what I was saying yesterday about the lake being open and the importance of getting oxygen into the water every day if you can during the summer. As you can see, we've got a bit of a different day today. Yesterday was a really, really calm day, so there wasn't really too much going on. But today there is a breeze. It's probably only about 6 or 7 miles an hour, but it's enough to make the water turn over like it is, and that's a really important factor for, you know, keeping the oxygen in the water and growing fish. Fish won't grow without oxygen, obviously, and you run the risk of getting massive algal blooms without it. I don't like the idea of using dye or anything like that, you know, because an algal bloom isn't a bad thing so long as you can keep on top of it and you can manage it. And this is where the fishery management side of it and what I've been learning over the last sort of like 5 years really comes into its own, because I've got an oxygen meter and I'm able to monitor the oxygen levels every day. But also there's a real nutritional value to the algal bloom. So you see a lot of lakes using dyes and things of that nature to block out the algal bloom, but it's not always the best idea, because effectively you're losing out on that nutritional value you can get from the water. So long as you can manage it and so long as you can monitor it and keep on top of it, I've always got aeration on standby if I ever need it. I've got pumps and generators up in the yard, but to date I've never really needed it. So yeah, just something to pick up on really. I just thought I'd mention it. You know, it probably doesn't mean much to the angler, but you know, from a fishery management point of view, it's really important. So if you have a fishery and you're watching this, just look at what I've just said and have a think about it if you're using dyes. You know, if you're able to cut a few trees down and you can, you know, get a bit of airflow onto your lake, the more the better. Because, yeah, in my opinion, you don't really need to be using dyes and things like that. Because I'm not against it, but I don't think it does your fishery a lot of good. Another way you can control your algal blooms are through plants. You know, your plants will take out a lot of the nitrite and nitrates and things like that. So plant as many plants as you can. I use a lot of typhus and typha, which is bulrush, and a lot of irises and things like that, and they all do a job, and they look fantastic as well. So I went down that route rather than, you know, going for like trees and things like that. But it's just an idea for people out there, really. And at the end of the day, it's free food, free superfood. Why wouldn't you want that? So there'll be guys out there now saying, oh, well, you'll get a lot of regrowth. Yeah, you will. You probably will get some weed growth. But at the end of the day, if you don't want the weed in there, remove it. That's what I do. So if it's practical for you, you know, this is what it's all about. It's all about being, you know, practical and managing it the best way that you can. I remove the weed that I get because I don't really want a rooted, weeded system anywhere in my lake, because again, it's just going to take out that nutrient that's already in the water. It doesn't really take it out, but it will just lock it into the plant, and it's not accessible to the fish like that. So I'm trying to make everything as eco-friendly as I can and have those fish swimming around in a constant protein rich environment. Right, back to today's fishing. So at the moment, as you can see behind me, one sunny day again. It's starting to get really hot already. So yeah, never really tried surface fishing in here, and there's a reason for that. I'm not really that keen on it, to be fair. But I will chuck out a zig later on, probably 3 zigs to be fair, because I'm not going to pick anything up on the bottom today. So yeah, 3 zigs are going to go out. We're going to see how that goes and we'll take it from there. But to be fair, with the week that I've had and the amount of work that I've been doing around here lately, I'm quite happy just to sit down and chill out. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, but until later on, bye-bye. Well, it's the middle of the afternoon now and absolutely nothing has happened, just as I expected. I've probably seen every fish in the lake, just haven't hooked any fish whatsoever. I've got 3 zigs out at the moment, but yeah, not playing ball whatsoever. So while I was here, I thought I'd pick up on another point from last year, which was the water level in the lake. Some of you may remember that the water level dropped quite a lot. It was down probably nearly 2 foot. And I went off to get my borehole drilled, and we were going to run tests through that throughout the summer. Well, that's what I've been doing, and I've kind of found a level where it sort of like balances out. It doesn't stop all the water loss, because this is so open, you're always going to lose water through evaporation and a little bit of water loss through the ground. But on a general, as you can see, if you can see where the overflow is straight out in front of me, it's a lot higher up than it was last year. I've probably lost about 8 inches since probably April, so it's not bad going at all, because we haven't had a lot of water. The ground's really dry. The farmers here are absolutely screaming for rain at the moment, but it just hasn't been happening. It just seems to be that, you know, we get these really dry periods here now, and we get really wet winters and really dry summers. So doing that borehole has definitely been a good investment, and has, yeah, really cured up that problem. The other good thing with the borehole as well is it flushes pure groundwater straight into the lake. So I've got it running through a big pump, and yeah, that does quite a good job. It's not on all the time, but it's doing what it needs to. Wow, that was one hot, uneventful day. Absolutely zero on the rods whatsoever. I've tried everything: zigs, bit of surface, put a few floaters out there earlier, don't want to know them. They are way too busy, you know, eating Daphnia and, you know, all the other naturals that are around at this time of year. And to be honest with you, they're just cruising about on the surface being fish. So, you know, the chances are slim. I'm gonna do tonight, and then after tonight, I'm gonna be shit canning it for the rest of the session, because the weather's just getting so hot now. It's really unfair to get the fish out of the water and, you know, be messing about with them and stuff like that. You're going to put them under enough stress catching them, but to get them out of the water in this heat, it for me is an absolute no-no. You have to know when to stop, and yeah, I think that's a pretty good time to stop when the weather's going to be sort of like 35°C. We've got water temperature now. I tested it a minute ago and it was 23 degrees. Now that's warm for a fish, you know. So that means that they're near enough fully active, you know. They know everything that's going on. It's not like catching them in the winter. So their stress levels will go like that, and yeah, it's just not worth it. So I'll do tonight, and we'll see what happens. Like I say, it is a little bit cooler now, and we'll go from there. And I'll show you the rest of the fishery stuff tomorrow. Right, so as I was saying yesterday, I actually didn't think we were going to get one, but we have actually got one. It's about 8:30 in the morning now, so It's not the hottest it's going to be yet, but I'm still in the water because, like as I said yesterday, this time of year, taking the fish out, putting them on the bank, slinging them, all the rest of the stuff, it's just not fair on the fish really, especially in this kind of heat. So as you can see, I'm in the water. I've got my waders on. Takes 5 minutes to do, and you can literally do all your weighing, you know, and all the rest of it from in here. I've literally just unhooked this fish, transferred it into a sling, do my photo, and away it goes. It's a lot safer for the fish like that, and you get a little bit of a carpy photo if you're into that sort of thing. But I'll just quickly hold her up and show you. There we go, guys. About £20 this one. As you can see, the fish is a lot calmer because it's in its natural environment. There we go. No flapping about, stress-free. I can even show you the other side by just turning her around. And there we go. Not one flap. I wonder why that is. Just proves the point really. Now I can let her go. And that's, my fellow friends, is how everyone should deal with fish in hot weather. Right, well there you go. That's probably one of the safest ways to deal with a fish during the summer months. And to be fair, it's not something that like you see a lot of guys doing. I know there's a lot of fisheries out there that are, you know, no getting in the water, no wading and things of that nature. But for me, at my fishery, I would advocate anyone doing what I've just done, because it is literally the safest and the easiest way to deal with a fish. Everyone likes to take the fish out and put it on the mat and things like that, but there's times of the year when you can really do that safely, and this time of year for me isn't really one. I don't like doing it, you know, so if I can weigh a fish and deal with it in the water, I will. It all depends on the fishery rules and what they stipulate. You've always got to follow the rules of places, but for fisheries that don't do that, I think it's a bit of a bad idea. The damage doesn't occur at the time. That's the key point to this. You take that fish out of the water, you're taking it out of its environment. It's hot as hell. You know, a hot bucket of water isn't going to help that fish breathe. So, you know, you've taken it out of that environment, you do your photos, all this stuff takes time, and then the real damage occurs afterwards. So that fish might sit in the sling when you put it back in the water. It might sit there for, you know, 30 seconds, a minute, and then it will swim off, or they'll swim off straight away. The damage occurs after the event. So you've got to bear that in mind. I've seen it so many times where people will catch these fish, they'll let them go, and 2 days later they'll turn up in the margin dead, because the stress level is just so high for them. They just can't handle it. If you can imagine going out, you know, and, you know, I don't know, falling over or doing something, you know, or in a car crash, it's not what happens at the event, it's afterwards. It's almost like a PTSD thing. So anyway, my real point is that when I open and we get the hot weather like it is, I would much prefer the guys get into the water and deal with the fish rather than do it on the bank. Right, barrow is loaded up, ready to fight another day. Some of you might have noticed that in the background of the video. This is a new bit of kit that I've got. It's the Nash Trax Power Evo. Really good bit of kit actually. Yeah, I really like it. I've only had it a couple of weeks. It was brand new in the box. I managed to get it second hand, literally half price, so 450 quid I paid for it. Retail for them is I think 950. Would I pay 950 for this piece of kit? Absolutely not. But is it a really good bit of kit? Absolutely yes, so far. So I'll be doing a review video of this at some point, so keep your eyes open for that. Right, quick tour of the fishery now before I sign off. So behind me, this is the boat swim. No, it's not the boat swim. What am I talking about? It's the car park swim. So it's the one closest to the car park. The car park is going to be in this area here. And yeah, big bit of water in this one, kind of like a square bowl. Goes out to the island, and then there's the swim that I was in a minute ago. So yeah, big bit of water in here. This swim probably starts off at about 2 or 3 foot and then generally slopes off to about 6 foot at the back. But yeah, all the swims fish well in here. You've got the bridge there that leads through to the island. I'm also going to be putting a cutout in there somewhere. I've yet to have it done yet, but that will give circulation all around the lake, so fish will have access rather than from just that end, and that end you'll also have access from behind me as well. Right, another swim now. So again, this one's not quite finished, it's just got to have the netting put on it, but this swim here is the boathouse. So again, quite a square little area here, quite big. Fishes out to the kind of just on this boundary line just down here. But yeah, again, another one kind of sort of starts off at about 2 foot, slopes off to about 6 foot at the back. Really popular area for fish. There's a nice little set of lily pads in the corner over here. They're just growing up. And yeah, that is the boathouse. Ferry across the Mersey. You'll have to excuse the wind noise if this is really loud, but it's quite a bit of a breeze out here. So this swim here is going to be Kathleen's and Donald's. I've built Kathleen's, I've yet to build Donald's, which is going next to it. Kind of a double swim really. This area fishes from the point of the island there, right the way behind me. This is the deepest part of the lake, right over to the point there. So it's a really big area. Still fishes well in the summer months as well. So again, it kind of starts off at about 2 or 3 foot here and then slopes off right towards down wall, and the down wall kind of like slopes down this way. So you've probably got a bowl out there of it's going to be around about 12-13 foot. No borders in that one at the moment because I'm still waiting for the contractor to come out and do this. We're going to have another channel through here, so that will lead into the boathouse swim, and then you've got Donald's behind me, which is going to be yeah, another channel, so the fish will get movement all the way around. And that brings us to the final swim, which is the inlet swim. This is the inlet because this is where all the pipes are that lead into the lake. As you see behind me, you've got this area here where we use for, again, a little bit of protection, and this swim kind of fishes from like sort of like this general area here and then all the way around. Kind of a bit of a smaller swim, but it's still quite a good little swim, and that'll go right round to the point there. So yeah, there you go. So that's it. If you've managed to stay to the end of the video, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you've all been able to learn something. If I can always do that, then that's always a plus. So yeah, that's the progress of the fishery. It's coming along nicely and everything's on track. So I'm going to be doing a lot more videos now.
Haven't done any for ages, so it's time to get back into it. Like I said, I've got some review videos coming up. I'll do some fishing videos. I've got the YouTube blogger match next week. That's at Coking Farm, so that should be quite good, and we'll go from there. Until then, tight lines. Thank you very much for watching.